Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 132 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on Monday, April 30th, 2018.
I'm Liberal Tim. I'm a liberal, a husband and father of three, sports shooter, and owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts. They're quite good.
I'm Marty, hunter and sports shooter in rural southern Ontario.
I'm Gavin, a yearly victim of grand theft, pewer of pews, lead, plastic, or otherwise, and a CCFR field officer.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. Blank. Oh, we're bad at show notes. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Stitcher, iTunes, etc. I have given up on Spotify. Check out the podcast on Facebook, Facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast, or Instagram, Instagram.com. What am I saying? Or do both. We both know you have Facebook and Instagram. Go on both. Give both of the things a like. There's a couple other podcasts that I would very much like to beat in Facebook likes.
We need your help to support the show. Visit www.patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, go to the homepage and follow the link on the right.
Always on the right with Tim.
Yeah.
Every week, What Are We Drinking is brought to us by Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. And now I get to do my favorite segment. It's called What Are We Drinking? Gavin, what are we drinking?
We lose Gavin?
Okay, Gavin's not drinking because his internet's frozen. Marty, how are your pigeons holding out?
Axeman got him.
Yeah.
So far we're all right. Coke Zero and Crown Maple tonight.
All right. Tim, what are you drinking?
Back to 40 Creek Copper Pot and reverse osmosis water.
There's the liberal Tim we know and love. All right, Gavin, one more time. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Virgin Cuba Libre made with Coke Zero.
Virgin Cuba Libre. So you put the lime in the Coke.
I don't have money for limes, man. I just paid my taxes today. Jesus. Way to rub it in.
Isn't Cuba Libre rum, lime?
Yeah, I'm just drinking Coke Zero today.
Okay.
I'm back on the keto train, and I haven't had any carbs today, so tomorrow will be awfully rough if I have anything to drink. So,
well, I appreciate the level of planning you're putting into your drinking.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the official beer, Coors Banquet. Fuck keto. I'm drinking beer. I was a good boy today. I was going to say I didn't drink, but that's actually true. I did not drink any other carbs. I also did not eat any other carbs.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not true. There was leftover pizza at dinner. I'm a liar. I've had many carbs. I'm about to consume more. Let's do the news. First one's from CTV News. Apparently, the Ontario Progressive Conservatives are taking a play out of the Liberal book. Ontario PC's announced tax rebate for up to $6,750 childcare costs. This is in the run-up to the Ontario election. There's an MPP that announced they'd be offering tax breaks for Ontarians for multiple forms of childcare, babysitters, nannies, licensed operators, and independent childcare providers. I'm not exactly sure what all of that means, but it sounds a lot like I'm paying for somebody else's childcare.
That's exactly what it is. But you're going to be paying less with this one?
For your own child. Yeah. More for other kids, other people's childs.
So this is
So
they're proposing a tiered system that's going to take effect a year after what the Liberals proposed if they were to get back into power. So low-income families will get 75% of their child care costs back up to $6,750. And then there is some sort of indiscriminate tier system. And if you make more than if your family makes more than $150,000 a year, then you get up to 26% back of whatever your child care costs are. So I'm not really sure what the goal is here, other than I still have to subsidize other people's childcare, and the Conservative Party is now doing the same thing as the Liberals and the NDP with a different dollar value, I guess.
It's okay. I think the goal here is get elected.
Yeah, the goal here definitely seems to be get elected.
So the last election, we had Hudak, who took the reasonable approach and said, we can't afford this stuff. No, this is bad ideas, bad policy. We can't afford it. We need to not do this stuff. And that's how we ended up with a liberal majority. So I think that they've taken the lesson from that and said, okay, the few things that they're shouting, sure, we'll do it too. We'll just do it cheaper.
Could we try just not doing it, like the opposite of a Nike commercial?
Or actually give people a tax break instead of giving them a rebate? Just don't take.
Well, that's what this is, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I just want to stop subsidizing other people's children. I have that of my own to do.
Yeah.
So what this is a tax break. So that is what this is. And I have to believe, for one, it makes more sense to just leave the money with the people as opposed to tax it from them and then redistribute it with the government taking their cut and inefficiencies of government. So this is just, you can submit your receipts and then get a tax break based on it. I do think of the three options, it probably makes the most sense in terms of costing us the least.
So I think what it is the government gets to hold your money for a year and do whatever the hell they want with it.
Just thought you needed some fresh air, even if that air is filled with the foul stench of European socialism.
Now, the other thing is that the PC's plan here covers various forms of childcare, not just government-licensed daycares, of which there are very few of. There's very few spots in licensed daycares relative to the amount of spots that are required. And so this one covers sort of, the unlicensed, the home at-home daycares and things like that as well. So there's the Liberal plan, okay, everyone gets free, or the NDP plan, everyone gets free daycare, but there's no spots. There is no licensed daycares to house these kids. So it's free, but there's no availability.
Sorry to clarify. The NDP says you only get it free if your family makes less than $40,000 a year.
Yeah, and then it's $12 a day, so it's subsidized anything above that.
Yep, absolutely. It's not free. That's
but there's no spots.
No, because there's not enough licensed daycares. Tell me about it. We live in a town, like a small to medium sized community in Ontario, and there are 4 licensed daycares. In a town of 100,000 people.
So I think if they have to do it, which they're making, they're at least making the bet.
But I see the
right. I also disagree with that. But somewhere along the way, they've decided that in order to get elected, they must do this and offer something similar to what their competition is offering. And so, if they're forced into that situation, this plan seems to make the most sense of the 3 terrible plans.
In that it's the least amount of theft?
Yes.
Because at least I can use babysitters, nannies, and independent.
Voting for the least worst?
Yeah, now I'm trying to pick up the turd by the least shitty end. That's... Yay.
Welcome to elections in Canada.
Can we just try less government? Have we done that?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, let's do another one. I got a gun thing because we got to do a gun thing. CBC. Gun groups clashing with Ottawa over effort to eliminate lead from ammunition. Studies link lead contamination environment to discarded bullets, sinkers, and jigs. It's funny that the gun groups are clashing with Ottawa, not the fishing groups, since, you know, 2 out of those 3 things are for fishing, not for shooting. But this is nonsense. The government has paid. Sorry, go ahead.
Part of it, I think, is just that the gun groups are a little bit more organized than the fishing groups because there's been nobody attacking fishing for the last 100 years. Like, I don't know if there is there a like fishing advocacy group in Ottawa?
I guess.
Honestly, it would not surprise me if there were.
Of some sort.
I don't think OFA lobbies, though, right? Like, they're just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, OFA doesn't do much of anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Someone is more than welcome to prove me wrong. But, yeah, so the government spent...
You can set up a booth. OFA does nothing. Change my mind.
Yeah, OFA harms hunters and fishers. But anyway, the government commissioned 2 reports from the same company, one for fishing and one for ammunition. 58,000 and 71,000 rounding, respectively. And they've discovered that when you drop fishing equipment in the lake or when you shoot guns into the nature, that the projectiles or the weights stay in nature. It's a complete waste of money, in my opinion. But hey, the government goes out so far as to say that they know that the firearms community is against this, and any sort of information is discarded out of hand without any review by the firearms community. So it's not like the government's made up their mind about this and contracted with a company to produce these reports that will provide them with the results that they're looking for.
Can we just talk about how bullshit this study is? Like, first off, all of this lead that they're claiming is being released into nature.
Yeah, what 500 tons of lead?
Yeah, 80-90% of that has to be on gun ranges, right?
Right, but they don't talk. They mention gun ranges, but they're talking about animals in the wild ingesting like pellets. So they've already gotten so that waterfowl. Marty, you're a waterfowl hunter. You can't use
migratory bird hunting. Yeah, you have to use steel, which sucks. There's a couple of other like alternatives that are better, but they're prohibitively expensive.
So the government disagrees with you. It says that it solicited ammunition manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retailers for this information, and they all told the government to pound sand. So no one's giving the government information on how expensive these other forms of ammunition are, just that the industry says that they're too expensive. I don't know if they've been down to the community.
Going back to they're talking about how all of this amount of lead, they're basically, my understanding is they basically just took, they're basically just looking at like how much lead, like ammunition is being imported into the country and then saying all of that is going back out to the environment. Well, most of that is localized to gun ranges. It's not out in the environment, it's on a gun range. It's in the berms of the gun range.
Yeah, which it gets reclaimed.
Exactly. Like the berms get reclaimed, the trap fields, they come and reclaim the lead. Like, after 15, 20 years or so, they'll go through and recycle all that lead out. So it's not like it's just going out in the environment. And it's not, out there where, ducks are picking it up or stuff like that. It's just, it's in the berm.
Yeah. But this is the thing you got to keep in mind. This is an anti-gun movement only. And it's because, why lead? It's because lead is toxic. Well, you know what is just slightly more toxic than lead? Fluoride. And we put that in the goddamn drinking water.
Yeah. But yeah, all the lead being found out in, wilderness areas, it's friggin' fishermen and their fucking lead weights and everything else that are more of a problem than guys going hunting.
But
Well,
I
how
don't
much
see-
fluoride is put into the waters, like the streams and water systems, like through running your tap?
Yeah. Like,
We're
I don't
old
know.
people that live in old houses with lead pipes.
Yeah, but they'll have that lead for years because it's kind of like they'll get a
I will
sediment
say
built around the
this.
pipes. And
As an anti-gun movement, I mean, it's smart.
Oh yeah,
Don't say things like that.
If you can't take the guns, just make the ammunition super expensive.
Yeah, don't give them ideas, Marty. We're pretty sure that people actually.
Dude, this
listen
is
to
their
show.
idea.
And-
We're discussing their idea.
yeah.
yeah, but
maybe
this
they
is
haven't put it
government.
together yet.
But this is government again. Like they fluoridate the water and they release sewage into was it Vancouver and Montreal all the time,
Montreal, yeah.
dumping huge amounts of sewage into the come on, guys. Like it's just you just gotta. There's so many people will just take the face value. And
5,000
go, yeah,
tons of lead, like 5,000 tons of lead. That's got to be worse than anything else that we're doing since we're targeting it. We're not taking cars off the road. We're not reducing greenhouse gas emissions through coal or gas electrical plants. We're gonna get rid of guns, and then the environment will be fine.
I'm still bitter they took it out of the gas.
Yeah, leaded gasoline was way better.
yeah. The air was much sweeter back then. Had that tangy kind of.
Oh yeah, they've even gotten rid of like most of that copper sulfate that's out there from lowering all those emissions.
Yeah.
Used to have a nice healthy orange glow over the city at night.
But again,
Not anymore.
some hypocrisy. It's like
Oh, the whole
for the
thing is
environment. We now have mercury in our goddamn light bulbs. Like everyone went to compact fluorescence, so unless you've switched out to LEDs, but like everyone has a tiny little freaking light bulbs right there by your on your bedstand, or you have mercury in there.
It's probably fine though. It's way more environmentally friendly, right?
I don't know. I saw a picture of a guy who stepped on a broken light bulb and he got mercury poisoning in his foot.
Ooh.
Yeah, you probably don't want to touch that stuff. Yeah,
It's pretty ugly looking foot, I'll tell you that much.
Speaking of ugly feet, let's talk about Toronto Pride.
Let's sell the ivory.
Sell the ivory. Pride Toronto applies for a $135,000 grant to combat police discrimination. This is in the Toronto Star, and it's not actually a $135,000 grant. It's two grants. $75,000 from the Ontario Trillium Foundation. We'll come back to that in a second.
Okay,
And
so these two
$60,000
grants, they're like gay lovers, and they want to march in Pride. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Grant from TD Bank and grant from the Trillium Foundation. So the Trillium Foundation is an Ontario taxpayer-funded improvement project that lots of organizations are able to apply to in order to receive funding. These are the government giving up my tax dollars. Pardon me, the government giving up my tax dollars to special interest groups. Now, Toronto Pride has not actually gotten this money yet, but I'm working under the auspices that they will, because it's Toronto Pride.
Oh yeah, the optics of not giving that money is going to be horrible.
Well, the optics,
for
optic.
the people voting, anyways.
Yeah, homophobic
people in
Nazis
Toronto.
everywhere.
So Toronto Pride.
This is the government giving your tax money to a special interest group whose entire goal with this money is to then lobby against another government organization.
Well, and that's the part that I wanted to get into. So the grant is supposed to go towards forming a community-led working group to develop initiatives and make recommendations to the Toronto Police Service to address something they're calling heteronormative biases. So these are biases that they have for being straight people. I'm not sure when heteronormativity became a thing. I kind of just thought that's how it worked. Like, we let the gays get married because we shouldn't let the government be involved in getting people married anyway. we treat them as equal individuals under the law, that's not good enough. So now we have to adjust our policing and justice systems to accommodate them because of our institutional heteronormativeness.
So, but isn't that discrimination?
These people are high. These people are super fucking high.
Isn't that discrimination to automatically assume that the police force has heteronormative biases?
Well, this all comes back to last year's problem, and I don't think this is actually a heteronormative issue or an LGBT issue in the first place. I think this is a race issue in Toronto because this whole issue stems from last year's Pride Parade when Black Lives Matter got involved and wanted the Toronto Police removed from Pride, which the Toronto Police are now not part of Pride as a result. And this comes from the organizations involved in Pride wanting to what do they call it? It's the victims of the victims from the LGBTQ community that belong to ethnic minorities. So the police are really mean to black gay people, I guess. I don't know. Like, this is all stemming from that they're treating a certain subset of the gays differently than everyone else. So I guess if they're going to indiscriminately crack skulls, they need to do it more indiscriminately because there's too many like black gays getting hit with batons. Innuendo.
Kind of like a Venn diagram, and they go, okay, we have black people who are like, and they always just say like are super oppressed by the police force, and then there's like transgender or LGBTQRST people who are like, you know, get their unfair amount of attention from the police, and then in the overlap, they're just assuming, you know, that it goes up like exponentially. But this was, I remember at the time we talked about this last year, and when they did not want, Black Lives Matter did not want the Toronto Police Services in the parade, and it came down to a quote from one of the Black Lives like head offices or whatever, one of the other branches of Black Lives Matter in the States, that basically said, like, if you are black and you become a police officer, you are no longer black, you are blue. So
yeah,
they didn't want
to see their race as an important factor in executing the duties of their office. Mm-hmm. Weird how that works.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, so let's look at the end, towards the end of the article here. It talks about why they've like sought the need for this funding and for this movement. Pride Toronto's application said it was also influenced by two other events in 2017. Toronto District School Board removing police from schools because of the, quote, unsettling effect it had on students of color, end quote. And the Police Service Board setting up an anti-racism committee following the 2015 police shooting of Andrew Loku. Pride Toronto filed its application before alleged serial killer Bruce McArthur was arrested on January 18th. Police have since laid 8 first-degree murder charges against McArthur. The majority of the victims were from the LGBTQ community, belonged to ethnic minorities, and were reported missing to police years before. And it's also should be noteworthy that if Trillium approves the project, Pride Toronto can apply again in a few years for up to $500,000 per year for up to 5 years.
Yeah, we don't need this.
I mean, TD can do whatever they want with their money as a private company or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what TD does with their money, but like maybe Pride Toronto should try, I don't know, inviting the police back into the parade as some sort of a sign that they want to work with them in better relations, rather than telling them to fuck off and then asking for money to repair that relationship. Like, that's not how that works.
That's one option. I would like to see it taken in a slightly different direction, and we declare Black Lives Matter to be a terrorist organization and we jail them all.
I could be on board with that.
But I mean, that's probably discriminatory because it would lead to an increased incarceration for people of color.
Now, personally, I would expect that you would have a great working relationship with anybody that you tell to fuck off regularly.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it depends on your life.
Strange how this deteriorated.
Yeah, that's what I do with all my sales guys on a weekly basis. Works really well when I'm looking for sales.
Yeah, tell them to fuck off, kick them out, and then then like question as to why there's a strained relationship between your two groups.
Yeah, and then demand a government grant so you can better smooth the or basically they want to control the police. They don't want to smooth over and make everything better. They basically want to appoint a committee that will direct the police and how they have to act.
Well, we're on that
so
topic.
They told them to fuck off, then get their government money so that they can then tell that group how to do their jobs in a way that they like.
You're not fucking off the way that we want, so we have some suggestions for how you can fuck off more effectively. I actually want to go back to one thing that was brought up that I feel that they're failing to address with their grants and their studies and their working groups is that certain subsets of the LGBTQ PRSMOUSE2 communities of color experience the most negative outcomes for their interactions with the criminal justice system. It seems to me that maybe those people are found committing a disproportionate rate of crime, not that the police are unfairly targeting them based on crime stats from Stats Canada.
So you're saying correlation does not necessarily mean causation.
Well, I can't find a thing in Stats Canada that says, is he black and gay and a criminal? I can only find, is he black and a criminal? But it seems to me that based on the racial reporting statistics for various forms of violent crime in Canada in Stats Can in 2015, when the most recent data that I was able to locate, the majority of the violent crimes were the majority of the violent criminals that were charged were members of visible racial minorities. So it stands to reason to me that the same holds true for the gay ones. But why would I want to direct money towards studying what might actually be causing the problem when I can just tell the police to fuck off instead?
Yeah.
But
I've
imagine
actually heard that it's not gay when you're in prison, though. Like that everyone does it.
I'm pretty sure you just have to stick your pocket out. I think that's how it works. I saw Oz like 3 times. I think that's right.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, why don't you do the next one, the BBC article?
Well, I will. Oh, here we go. I didn't see that in the show notes. I thought we'd skipped it.
Well, it's a good segue going from gay black guys to something from the BBC.
Yes, fired Vancouver waiter. Fired Vancouver waiter.
I see what you did there.
I'm not rude, just French. So there was a waiter in Vancouver. Name of, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it Guillaume?
Sure. I was going to call him Guillemot, but
Guillaume. Anyway, he filed a complaint with the British Human Rights Tribunal saying that his ex-employer and its parent company dismissed him because he was French. So he had numerous aggression, he's got in trouble with his work, so like a few times because of his aggressive tone and nature, and he's basically saying that he's not rude at all. He's just French, and that's French people are tend to be more direct and expressive, he says, and he said that because he was fired because he was French, that infringes on his his human rights as a Canadian. So
see, liberals, this is what happens when you make stupid laws.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what happens.
So what happened once was, I think there was a thing where he was having difficulty with one of his coworkers, and his manager basically came out and said something like, this is probably, this could be because you're French. The French people are more of this and that kind of thing. So basically, he was trying to tell the guy how to get along in Canada. But anyway, thanks to the, human rights tribunals and provincial or federal level, he can now, suing his his former employer. So
he'll never have to wait tables again.
No.
I mean, I'm sure the Human Rights Tribunal. I'm sure that'll be a pretty fair hearing, right? Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
going to listen to both sides and make a decision one way or the other.
The
Yeah, I
fairest.
see no opportunity for bias in this.
Human Rights Tribunal. Is this the kind of thing where they have? It's one of those government things where they have like a 100%.
Conviction rate? Is that
That's
the word you're
something
looking
else.
for?
Yeah, it's 100. Yeah, they're. I think it's like 100%.
Yeah. It's just, you're going to cave
Well-
into what they want. It's just a matter of time. It's just whether you do it quickly or painlessly.
I wish Gamay luck with his action at the Human Rights Tribunal. I hope that I hope they see fit to give him lots and lots of money.
Yeah, I hope he gets a lot of money and never has to change. Like, why would you change the cause? When you can just get, sue them, do the Human Rights Tribunals.
Who'd have thought
This
that
is what
just
happens
being
when we
a
make
dick
stupid
could be
laws.
so lucrative.
I'm just waiting for my opportunity. Gavin, do you want to do the next one? I think you found it.
Which one? Oh, I gotta pull up my show notes here. Which one is this?
Ah,
We're
how
going
do
to
you not
start
have your
regulating
show
barbecue
notes?
brushes.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. My computer's down, so I'm using my iPad, so I can't have my show notes out. But yes, apparently there's some lady that was cleaning her barbecue, and I guess got somehow a bristle stuck in some food, and she ate it, and just had to do all kinds of surgeries and stuff like this, and took weeks and weeks off of work and lots of money spent, and they still can't seem to get this damn bristle out of her. Which sucks. Don't get me wrong. I feel bad for her, but she's actually asking for government intervention to like regulate the quality and materials of barbecue brushes, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Why not charge her for carelessly cleaning her barbecue grill and not inspecting it? Because basically now we have a socialized healthcare system that's going to have to pick up the slack and get this damn bristle out of this.
Right. Well, they've had multiple surgeries and they haven't been able to remove this bristle, but apparently this has happened like 9 other times in the course of 2017.
Okay, but yeah, I know it's been on the rise, and it's just I remember the first time I heard one of these instances, I was like, how freaking stupid do you need to be?
Well, that's
Not
the
seeing
part
bristles
that, like,
on your grill. Like it's just like
Yeah.
it's right there.
They
I'm putting food on
stand
it for
out.
Christ's sake. I'm gonna look.
well, you're going to look, but apparently that requires a significant amount of agency because at least 10 people in 2017 didn't bother to look.
I'm curious if there's a correlation between these people and like have they also fallen into the toilet because they haven't bothered to look whether the seat is up or down.
Yeah, this is
I'm just curious.
It's like 10 o'clock at night every night. The neighbors wait to hear her yell, "You left the damn toilet seat up again!" And it's just. But another thing, like another angle here, that's just a small tangent. It's like, come on, like we're paying for this freaking healthcare or the province, whatever province this person's from. You gotta look at the competency of this doctor. Like it's a metal bristle, and someone like they gotta have an idea where it is, like an X-ray.
Yeah.
Or
They have an X-ray in the article of where it is. They just can't seem to get it.
Well, go get that bastard once.
Yeah.
Do it once.
I mean, I have a better suggestion. Like, we, worked on the farm whenever cows ate metal. You just shoved a magnet down their throat.
Yeah.
Works on the cattle. Works on cattle. Just the
Probably works on Nova Scotians. I mean, I see the
bigger
correlation.
size magnet. And it just, you just made the cow swallow the magnet, and then the magnet would pick up the metal.
This was Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
the woman in question lives in Nova Scotia.
Oh, I just saw a
But-
related article that said Nova Scotians smoke more pot on average than any other Canadian province.
Well, it's not like they have jobs to go to. They got to do something to fill their day.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, like it's
Because the unemployment rate in the maritime provinces is staggeringly high.
Well, they have a wicked amount of transfer payment per population compared to the rest of Canada.
But yeah, like this is, I mean, if we allow the government to regulate barbecue brushes, where does it end, right? Like,
Well, so that's kind of my thing on this is like if an industry organization wants to develop some sort of voluntary standard, I mean, have at it. It's private enterprise. Go nuts. The problem that I have with this is that the government feels that they need to develop a voluntary standard.
That's why I insist on fucking retard barbecue brushes. Make sure.
But like, I mean, nobody wants to pay high prices for that stuff, so they all go to Canadian Tire and buy the shittiest, cheapest, made in China brush they can get, and then this happens. It's like, well, what did you expect was going to happen? If you go and spend $1 on a shitty brush, it's not going to work very well. It's going to fall apart. But also, I don't know. Usually they're bright gold, like they stand out really well against the black barbecue grill.
Yeah,
I don't know how you could miss it.
Eventually, I think any brush of any at all is going to eventually lose bristles. Like no matter how the quality is. Like I think the magic brush.
Be dumb.
Yeah.
Like just don't be dumb. That's what this comes down to. But instead,
replace your brush when it starts to get shitty.
Yeah, but now you're going to get a call from the Nova Scotian Human Rights Tribunal. It's going to protect her right to be stupid.
Well, and that's the problem that I see with this. And she's specifically quoted in the article saying something to that effect, that she thinks the government needs to regulate this because it's unsafe for Canadians. No, you just need to not be a dumbass.
Yeah. It's not like there's 50,000 of them a year and growing.
Even if there was,
if it's
there's a magic number.
Send her on her way.
Hand that woman the cow magnet. Not more government. This is dumb. Don't eat things that aren't food.
Oh, here can we do?
She needs to go out for donaires more than.
Yeah, let's wrap it up with a quote. I don't think I could ever go back to using them, period. I had such a terrible experience. It took up a large chunk of my year. It's like, 2016 clown reference, 2017, that damn bristle. It's like, oh, hun, you know what? It was our anniversary last week. Oh, that damn bristle. I've been so busy with my bristle. I almost have a fear of any sort of grill. We go on vacation and see these barbecues at our cabins and cottage, and I see a wire brush hanging from it, and there's just no way I could use that.
Good. Nobody's making you use it. Now stop trying to regulate my stupid barbecue brush, because I think I don't know. I've probably owned 4 or 5 barbecue brushes as long as I've been an adult that's owned a barbecue, and I have yet to eat the barbecue brush components. So from my cold dead hands, you can have my barbecue brush when I'm done grilling. How about that?
Yeah, and I've been drunk, very, very drunk, many, many times, and I've yet to do that.
I mean,
so she says there's just no way I could use that. Do you think she means the brush or the grill? Do you think she's just terrified of barbecues now?
No, because it later goes on to say that she now uses a piece of balled up tinfoil to scrape her grill clean.
Okay.
Just
I wish it was that she was afraid of. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe she can try eating the tinfoil. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, but we got Sikhs driving around on motorcycles without helmets, for Christ's sake. How many bags of all-dressed chips is that worth to you, Marty?
Well, I'm just thinking, ball up tinfoil every time you want to barbecue. That shit gets expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dumb. I've tried the balled up tinfoil thing. I'll stick with my barbecue brush.
But will the aluminum go into the environment?
No, it flakes off and you get little pieces of aluminum foil in your food. It's fucking stupid.
Is this how you get really smooth, shiny tinfoil balls that you see on the YouTubes?
Yeah. Oh, my daughter's trying that. But no, save your foil for your hats, gentlemen. Jesus.
Yeah. Or if you ball it up nice and big and put it in the microwave, you can get some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And while you do that, throw it in the microwave. Run outside, clean your barbecue. Don't worry about the microwave. It'll be fine. Don't even.
You gotta heat up the aluminum ball.
The popping noise you hear is perfectly normal.
Make sure that you don't ball it up too tightly. You want lots of sharp edges on that ball still when you put it in the microwave. That's really
yeah.
Yeah, the more
Get the
the more little
charcoal off.
flakes and points, the shinier it is at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's revisit something from earlier this year. I think this was
Earl?
back in January.
Did you say Earl?
No, earlier this year.
Okay.
I think it was back in January. We talked about the new grants program for the Canada Summer Jobs.
That's those guys that are in the Pride Parade.
Yeah.
Yes,
that-
Grant.
Oh god, I hadn't opened his article
husband,
before.
Grant.
The photo was amazing.
That couple.
Man, those Grant guys get around.
Yeah.
Those grant guys do get it. So the Canada Summer Jobs Program is federal funding for not-for-profit organizations to be able to hire a student that the government will pay for to conduct a summer internship, and their plan is to hire 70,000 students to do this. The problem that came up earlier in the year was that there was an attestation in the application that as part of their core values that they did not, or rather that they support a woman's right to choose so that they could have abortions or not. So a number of religious organizations felt that this meant that they were not able to apply for the grant program. Apparently, it's back in the news because now we have anti-pipeline activist organizations in British Columbia applying for and receiving grants. It's called Dogwood something. It's the Dogwood... I can't find it now that I'm talking about it. Dogwood Initiative is the name of the organization. And they're trying to hire students through the Canada Summer Jobs Program with the specific intent of using them to protest oil pipelines coming to BC from Alberta. Way to go, government.
Well, now our tax money is going to be diverted away from developing newer and safer barbecue brushes, whereas normally this kind of money comes from the Tides Foundation in the States to block pipelines.
Yeah, normally it would be Tides. In this case, it's our own government. Meanwhile, Trudeau is talking about allowing other pipelines to be built.
What's extra insulting about this is the American dollar is doing so well. Like you'd think Tides could just spend a little more money.
I
Buy
would
off
think that,
a
but
few more chiefs.
Well, we
Tides.
can't use that word. It's culturally insensitive.
I think it's entirely accurate in this context, though.
No.
Yeah, I think this is the one case where it's okay.
This is the one time it's allowed.
We can't use that word. They can use it all they want. We can't use that word, I don't think.
No, it's not
word.
that word. It's a different word.
Oh, okay. So many words, I get confused.
I know.
What if you spell it with an A? Is that okay?
Chaffs?
Yes.
Chaffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, chaffs, right?
Chaffs?
Yeah.
That's the one we're talking about, right?
CFs? I'm not sure where you put the A in that, but yeah, this is disappointing on a variety of levels. So certain groups couldn't get summer jobs grants because they weren't supporting the liberal federal position on abortion. Now they're giving it to organizations who expressly want to use the money to hire pipeline protesters. Meanwhile, the shiniest of pony is kicking people out of their positions in government. There was a Liberal MP, Scott Sims, who recently lost his position as the chairman of the Standing Committee on Fisheries and Oceans because he failed to vote in favor of he voted in favor of the Tory motion changing the attestation on the summer jobs grant application. So because he said that this is dumb and my constituents don't want me to do this, Trudeau took away his position as a chairperson of a committee.
Which affected his wage by, was it like 5,000 or 20,000? I forget.
No, it's $120,000. Chairmen of committees make $119,000 additional to what a sitting MP would normally make.
So that's pretty significant. You could buy a lot of barbecue brushes with that.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
whole
what if
lot
you're
all dressed
So
if you're
one of the things that's
pipeline and
things-
anti-abortion? Like, what if you don't like both? What do you do then?
no summer job for you, I guess.
now one of the things I find interesting here is that these groups that are being punished here, they're being punished for answering a government questionnaire honestly. You know, They basically submitted their thing.
No.
Basically, like, you know, they were asked certain questions on a questionnaire on their thoughts on certain issues, and the groups that said that they, you know, were, I guess, against abortion, that was then used afterwards to deny them funding.
The problem is not that they answered the question honestly. The problem is that the answer is contrary to the liberal election promise about allowing women the opportunity to abort their unborn children.
What if that has nothing to do with summer job that you're offering?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. If you're a religious organization, then most of them are not in favor of aborting unborn children.
Well,
Yeah,
but like,
it definitely had nothing to do with the jobs they were offering. I mean, it was just
it had to do with their
in
political
general. That was their stance. Like, it's a religious organization. It was like camps and things like that. Like there were Christian camps and things like that there were previously had received funding that were denied because the faith that it was based around is against abortion.
Yeah,
but
as opposed
the dog rule had nothing to do with it.
As opposed to the Dogwood hiring initiative, where they're hiring people for $15 an hour to directly protest a company who's, God help them, is trying to do business in this freaking socialist hellhole.
Yeah,
like it's not like they were hiring people to protest like abortion clinics. That wasn't what the churches were trying to do. They just had that belief, and they were removed from and unable to apply for the government.
And they're not even telling people that you can't have one. They just don't want to tell people that they can.
This came up in question period, and obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but like Trudeau's response was something along the lines of like they were asking why they would, you know, allow provide funding to protesters when they wouldn't provide funding for other groups, and he basically was like, well, you know, we believe in funding all opinions and all ideas, and you know, we don't censor the stuff. Like, you know, you're literally are denying funding to people that disagree with you. That is not like this is how we got in this situation.
Double plus on good. So Trudeau says one thing and does another in this case, in terms of the funding grant process. During the run-up to the election, he also specifically said that he will give Canadians a stronger voice in the House of Commons by limiting the circumstances in which Liberal members of Parliament would be required to vote with Cabinet. And as a result of this MP voting against the caucus, against the Liberal Party, this particular MP lost his chairmanship of a standing committee. Like,
when you look at it, like they demonize the Harper government for being, you know, not allowing
Harper. He muzzled scientists.
Exactly, but when you look at the voting, I mean, the Harper Conservatives had way more free votes than what we're seeing in the Liberals. The Liberals are having whip votes for everything.
Yeah, because it turns out there's actually some halfway decent Liberals in Parliament that vote the way that their constituents want them to. I'm shocked as anybody else could be about that, but turns out it's the case.
Yeah, shame about that guy. He should really change parties.
Yeah. The grass is certainly bluer on our side of the fence. All right, let's do another one. We got Patrick Brown stuff to follow up on as well.
Are we skipping the
oh, did I skip something?
The other national? Yeah.
What'd I skip? We talked about
the first National Post article.
That's the grants.
Yeah, we talked about the grants. It's all related stuff.
Yeah, same thing. I just want to talk about that photo on that article though.
Okay, so for the listening audience playing along at home, there are always articles because we cite our sources, although I don't always read them out aloud. Marty is looking at a National Post article. Let me see if I can get it back up on my thing. It's the Rex Murphy one, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's make our comments.
Interesting in the article, but that photo was amazing with the lady with the pizza box.
Yeah.
So this is an audio podcast. Would you care to describe this to the listening audience at home?
Okay, if anybody has ever seen Home Alone 2, the pigeon lady, it's her holding up a pizza box with a circle cut in it, so she's looking through the circle with written in marker, this is what unemployment looks like.
That's a nice circle. I don't think she cut that. I think this is like some.
That is a perfect circle, and she's got some sort of actual like film, so it's a window, not just a cutout.
Yeah, so I think like you would go to the grocery store and see your pizza right there, kind of thing, or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
This is an absolutely brilliant description. The woman from Home Alone 2. That is spot on, Marty. Well done. And I would have actually guessed that this was a 12-inch pie because what the fuck kind of pizza box has got a window in the top of it?
That looks bigger than that. I'd say that's an 18.
Well,
that's a damn big pie if it's a pie.
Yeah. For the listening audience at home, I hope this now makes more that there's a pizza box size piece of cardboard with a hole in the middle and the woman from Home Alone 2 that is apparently out of work.
And she worked so hard on that. You see the little drywall screw or the little deck screw she put into the handling stick.
Yeah.
She drilled that in there, and it's been in there so long. It's like it's getting little water damage around the screw where it's leaking into the cardboard. There's some darkening, and it says this is what unemployment looks like. And then Trudeau saw that, and he said, "Actually, we prefer to say unemployed people."
If she's unemployed, how did she get the money to buy such a giant pie?
Socialism.
So where exactly is the line that I can go and wait for a pie of that size? Asking for a friend.
I also want a very large pie, but we're going to move on and talk about Patrick Brown because he's in the news again. So 2 fun things that come up with Patrick Brown recently. We'll touch on the National Post article first. Ex-Tory leader Patrick Brown breached integrity rules in failing to disclose loan rental income, according to a watchdog. So he was actually accused of a number of things by a number of individuals. The sex scandal, not the least of all. But the Integrity Commissioner for Ontario has
Can we even
decided
call it a sex scandal, though? So much as like a makeout and driver home scandal?
It was allegedly. Where's my button? Somebody get Squirrely Dan.
Allegedly.
There we are.
It was a Canadian sex scandal.
Yeah, so he
said no, so he apologized and drove her home.
Yeah.
That is probably the most Canadian sex scandal ever. No, I just want to be friends. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me drive you home.
Sorry about that, eh?
Sorry, eh? Yeah.
Do you want to stop at the Timmy's or should we just go right there? No Timmy's? Okay.
Everything was going so well. Then she saw my barbecue brush and freaked out.
Well, she was 18 and or 19 at the time. It's entirely possible that her Canada Summer Jobs grant got denied.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So Ontario Integrity Commissioner David Wake found that there was no evidence that Brown accepted or fails to disclose gifts or travel, but he was found that he failed to disclose his limited rental income and temporary secondary mortgage. So this is the loan and the rental income that they're talking about. Now, I don't know how it works in Ontario, but I am well versed after the Prime Minister's fraudulent vacations to visit the AgaCon, on the private island, that if you are a federal politician and you violate the ethics laws, the fine is a maximum of $500. I don't know what it is in Ontario, but I would be shocked if it was more than the federal amount.
Yeah, just pay the fine and carry on. Like, this guy's been through enough. He can use the money he's hopefully going to pay for that.
You know what? Even if it is more than $500, according to the Toronto Star, Patrick Brown suing CTV for $8 million over their sexual impropriety story. So a couple $100, a couple $1,000, I mean, versus $8 million. Who really cares what the fine is? Because I think the man's got a case.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the CTV thing, I think, for sure. Especially when you see the kind of information that they omitted from the story. And yeah, in terms of this, I think we would get into this more if he was actually a person of interest, but at this point, there's just no point dragging this guy through anything more.
No, I thought it was funny that he's back in the news and now he's going to sue CTV for $8 million. So, tune in a year or two when we get the outcome of that case and find out if Patrick Brown gets $8 million or not.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely hope he does. Like the mainstream media, I got a button for them too. The mainstream media.
That didn't work at all.
How about now? No, I can see the levels aren't working. I don't know. I can hear drops now, but now my echo machine's broken. I don't know. My audio's all jacked up. I hope that Patrick Brown wins this money because CTV screwed this dude over. He should have been the next premier of Ontario. I don't particularly like him. I don't think he's a particularly good candidate, but I don't really think anybody in the Progressive Conservative Party in Ontario is a particularly good candidate. So out of all of my poopy choices, he was the least poopy.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd go that far. I everything I saw from this guy, I wasn't super impressed at all. So, but yeah, definitely, I agree that this guy got fucked over hard, and undeservedly.
Doug Ford, who would you rather have, this guy or Doug Ford?
I don't know. I'd have to give some thought. Like, they're both terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you still have to figure out which end is the clean end of the turd you're about to pick up. But
one end is noticeably cleaner than the other.
I'd say Ford.
I think I'd go with Ford
we already have Scheer at federal. Look, so we need someone a little more
soy boys as possible.
Yeah, and I almost going to go with Ford, not because I like him more, but because the media hates him more.
Yeah, it reminds me of back before Trump was elected on Matt and Tyler's podcast, and they said, like, I hope Trump gets elected just for the clips. So, like, if you think about Rob Ford gave us a lot of good clips, and I'm sure his brother can too.
If not, he can probably hook us up with a couple of dime baggies at least.
Yeah. Let's do another follow up from the truck of peace last week. According to Blog TO, which I guess is a thing in Toronto. I don't know. Gavin, is that a thing? Can you confirm this?
Yeah, they're a blog in Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
Who are they blogging to?
Toronto, I imagine.
And those that care.
Yay.
Nobody really.
I like the tweet from Anne Marie. Whatever. Heads up, if you're traveling around Union Station, there are now barriers for protection, which need a little navigation. It's like, I think a concrete barrier would become evident. Like, you don't need to give someone a heads up,
Yeah. If it's big enough to.
Now, is that the Anne Marie?
No, Anne Marie, and then I didn't put her last name in because but it's there. It's in the blog TO. Anne Marie Akins. What the hell?
That would be awesome though if it was like the actual Anne Marie. That'd be. It's like trying to get my relevancy back.
Exactly. It's like, so they are still alive.
We sort of vaguely danced around it, but if we actually have we told the listeners what's changed in Toronto? Is they put up concrete highway barriers on sidewalks downtown?
It's called a concrete barrier of acceptance. Yeah, and we have.
Yeah,
that's right. It's so that you can accept the truck of peace staying on the road, not accepting it onto the pedestrian walkway.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so
I believe that the technical term is a diversity barrier.
Is that? Oh, that doesn't sound very good at all.
It's a barrier to diversity. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, so now you can only hit other cars or people crossing at crosswalks.
Oh, and look who wrote the article. Lauren O'Neill, good Irish girl.
Irish person. We don't know that she's a girl. Aaron could be a boy.
You're right. Could be genderqueer.
Oh no, you said Lauren, not Aaron. Never
Lauren.
mind.
Lauren is
a girl's
definitely a
name.
woman, though. I don't know who Aaron is, but
I
Hey man, anyone could be
whatever.
anything these days.
That's right.
I mean, she might even identify as Irish. So
Yeah, good.
the poor girl.
yeah.
I love the
It's
comments.
one thing to be Irish; it's another thing to identify as it.
Yeah.
I love the comments on the blog TO article. Someone says, "Oh, for Pete's sakes, overreact much?" And then someone, "I think it's a smart idea to protect people in one of the busiest parts of the city."
Oh, just
And,
there's another comment. I just got
Queen
back
of
from
England
Brussels.
as
They
his
have these
avatar.
all over Europe. Yeah.
Get used to it. Yeah, it's just part and parcel of living in a large city. Someone
Can
says,
we stop
I've
saying
been to a
that?
lot of places in Europe.
"I'm
and
all
they
for the
don't have
barriers,
those.
but a lick of paint wouldn't hurt."
No, like stop.
No, that is not actually a thing on here, is it?
Yeah,
It,
there was
it
like,
really is a comment on. I mean, it's blog TO, so I
Oh.
mean, I assume that this is populated by like
Just-
unmarried, unchild-bearing cat ladies in downtown Toronto.
"Oh, Michael O'Brien, another
Yeah.
good Irish folk there." He said,
Yeah, cat ladies and soy boys. That's pretty much.
"Just because they're there for safety doesn't mean they can't look nice." And he got 13 legs.
No, but here's a radical
Move it
idea.
up.
Let's just stop importing people into this country that are diametrically opposed to our way of life and want to run them over with trucks.
Someone
We-
said,
we-
"Shut
Let's
up."
just get that artist that made the steel beams and rocks just to do more art along the sidewalks.
Ooh,
Well, why-
I've got an alternative idea. You could just give me my gun and let me carry it. So the next time somebody wants to run people over with a rider van, I could behave in a more productive manner than the police officer and shoot the bag of shit so that he stops running people over.
Yeah, but with how much ammunition's gonna cost, you have to like weigh the like.
Oh,
is it
I
worth
will.
it
I
to
will
get
use
those
the
around to
business.
take this guy out.
Oh, would
Yes.
it be lead ammunition? Would
Yes.
you contaminate the environment?
No,
Yeah, I mean, like,
copper alloy, hand turned on a lathe.
what if the guy gets lead poisoning after you shoot him?
That's the general
One-
idea.
one-
Yes.
One can hope. Yeah, one can hope.
Well, that's Toronto for you. It's just part and parcel of living in Toronto to get lead poisoning. But the concrete barriers are, first of all, they're stupid and wasteful. I think we could have gone with red couches.
We do have
Got a bunch of them. Yeah.
Don't we have a whole
Why not
bunch
just
of?
build a big rubber, like big inflatable rubber duck, so the car just bounces right off?
Ooh,
Like an
now,
airbag.
now you're thinking like a Dutchman.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what if we just make everyone drive around in giant inflatable rubber ducks?
What about some large moose statues?
I'm sure there's a few of those kicking around still. I still remember the wicked one outside of Zanzibar that had like the giant chain around its neck, like a pimp. It was awesome.
Right. Let's.
It's a strip
let's
club
do-
for those that don't know what that place is.
Well, you should inform everyone who doesn't live in Toronto about Toronto, because I'm sure everyone who doesn't live in Toronto cares.
Yeah,
Not really.
that's why there's a blog about it.
No. Let's continue on with the truck of peace. Less about barriers and more about police officers. I'm a little bit saddened about the way that this went down, just because, well, this police officer that took down the suspect managed to do so without injuring the suspect, and that is good. The outcry of the rabid leftists that the police officers don't need to shoot people in order to enforce the law, I feel like they are missing the point. So we have articles from National Post about the officer, and Wardall and CTV News about using vehicles as weapons and so on. We'll get to the CTV article in a minute because I want to touch on that separately. So good for this officer for being able to do that. I feel like he made a significant tactical error in not giving this guy some speed holes.
I think
Yeah.
he.
So
forgot
I
bullets
thought
that
about
day.
we talked about this briefly on last podcast, and that was my initial thought when I saw the video. But I didn't say anything last week for the simple reason of we don't know what he saw.
Well,
So he,
okay,
like,
so I
He
I
might
agree
have
with
clearly
you.
seen that was not a gun that the guy was pointing at him.
I agree
That's
with
why
your point, Marty. And we didn't give this guy a hard time last week, and we don't know. And I mean, I don't mean to give him a hard time now and second guess what he's doing. But I am kind of
But
going
we're
to
going to.
armchair quarterback, or what do they call it? Monday morning quarterback this? I'm not good at sports analogies, guys. I'm sorry. For our listeners out there in podcast land, I barely know what hockey is. It's the one with the bigger orange ball, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely not the one with quarterbacks.
Okay. So bad example, but I do know guns. And I have a pretty good understanding of police training. And I have a pretty good understanding of tactics. So I'm going to Monday morning quarterback this. Armchair quarterback. Sports analogies are not my forte. I should just move along. We don't know what this dude saw or what this dude did or what his experiences are. But I can say that I've watched videos from 3 different angles in high def about what took place, and he made several obvious tactical errors. The first of which was not shooting this dude when he had the opportunity. The second of which was turning off the siren on his car, which, well, in an interview that he gave where he said he was trying to de-escalate the situation, and that does sound very reasonable.
Sorry, and just to be clear, you mean not turning off the siren of his car?
No, he interrupted the almost gunfight to turn off the siren of his vehicle. He was issuing commands. He was issuing commands to the suspect. The officer, what's his name? Lamb, I think. I'm pretty sure his name is Lamb. He had his firearm out. He had his firearm in the low ready, so it was not pointed at the suspect. It was out in the ground between the two of them, and he disengaged from the suspect after issuing the command to get down to move to the patrol car. He entered the patrol car and disengaged the siren. The suspect was within 15 feet when he did this. He lost line of sight with the suspect, and he lost control of the situation from a tactical perspective. Not that he had his firearm trained on the suspect in the first place, which, again, I feel was a tactical failure in this case, because the suspect, I believe at the point when he turned the siren off, had already told the officer to kill him on at least one occasion. So the suspect definitely had something in one hand. We don't know what the object was. In one of the high-def videos, I have seen 3 different HD videos from 3 different angles. It looks to me that it might be a phone.
I'm pretty sure it's a barbecue brush.
I don't think it's a barbecue brush.
It's just been worn down over the years. There's no bristles left on it.
Yeah, so the most dangerous thing in Canada.
How do we not know what that article was? How do we not know what that item was in his hand at this point?
Because the mainstream media is terrible at reporting this information. And again, from the video, I strongly suspect that it is a phone or a phone-like item. But he also clearly tells the officer that he has a gun in his pocket while he is holding the other object outstretched, pointed at the officer like a firearm, like one would point a gun. He says, "I have a gun in my pocket," and then he moves his other hand to his pocket twice. And the officer fails to give him speed holes.
And I agree with you, because this is when a rental truck is used because of events that have been going on around the globe. You have to assume they're armed, and they're armed well, they're armored, and you have to assume that they have a suicide vest or a bomb. You have to be.
Absolutely. Like, this is I am glad the officer is all right. I couldn't give 2 shits about the suspect. I think you should have saved the taxpayers' money and put 2 in the chest and 1 in the head and called it a day and gone home safe to your wife, because this guy's married and he has no kids. But I feel for the guy.
A great decision. But
I feel for the guy. Good for him for not doing this. And I mean, the rabid leftists out there are like, see, police don't need to shoot everyone they come across. Black Lives Matter, etc. Not that this guy was black or that his life mattered, but
what happened if he actually had a gun?
Well, that's the thing. He says, "I have a gun." Oh, okay. Well, now it's time to shoot you in the face.
Well, that's the modus operandi of a lot of these. There was the guy who struck down the officer in Edmonton and got out and attacked him with a knife. They usually have another weapon, and that's usually the beginning of they get out of the vehicle and they continue to fight. It happened in London on the bridge.
Well, and that's the thing. This guy had already run people over in the van. He got out of the vehicle. He continued to be aggressive. He continued to be non-compliant, and he acted in a homicidal and suicidal fashion.
Yeah.
the officer was well within his rights under the criminal code to put speed holes in this dude, which I still feel that this was a tactical failure on the officer's part for not using the applicable level of force to stop the threat.
Well,
Well, like
let's
you were
say
saying about
let's say he
the-
knew let's say he knew damn well it was a cell phone. Gee, can you think of anything you can trigger with a cell phone?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, this guy is already out murdering people. He's not going to get less murdery. He is non-compliant. You've told him to get down or you'll shoot him.
Mhm.
It's time to follow through. And now he's like, I have a gun in my pocket. Okay, well, if you weren't already like fearing for your safety, that's probably the thing that gives you justifiable cause to shoot the man.
Yeah.
I suppose
Well,
politically
I-
correct, shoot the person, but
I'm going to go back to your comments about like the siren and everything. Like if he has his gun out, whether it's pointed at the guy or not, if it's safe enough to turn off your siren, you should probably have put your gun away.
well, he
If his
later
gun
does
is
just
still-
that.
Well, yeah, if his gun is still out, why is he not looking at the threat?
Right, and that's the thing. Like, I
Like,
feel there was a lot of
there's so
tactical
much
failures
wrong.
in this thing, and I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a training deficiency, and I'm not trying to pick on this individual officer, but I feel like this is a training deficiency within our police force. And I think a lot of it is because the police are afraid of being crucified in the media, in the court of public
Yeah.
opinion, because they're shooting unarmed people of visible minorities.
Mhm.
Some of those people need shooting. Like, that's
Yeah, there's
Well,
certainly cops
this
that
dude-
have shot people that don't deserve it, but in my mind, like if that was me, and I got called to a scene where a guy just ran over 20 people, so he's already shown the intent to harm. He's now telling me that he has a gun, and he motions to me like he is drawing a gun with an object in his hand. If it was me, that guy would have been smoked. Unless I could clearly tell that it was not a gun.
right. And the object they had out, maybe this guy, because he's only 15 or 20 feet away, maybe he can see better than in the video. I think it looks kind of like a phone. Whatever. He
Doesn't
could make it
matter.
out better. He
But
decided
Doesn't
that it
matter.
wasn't a
That
threat.
phone,
But-
But yeah,
that phone might have been 30 times more dangerous than a gun.
Right.
The,
Like,
the École Polytechnique shooting, what happened there is the police officers never went in because they'd never experienced anything like that at all. They were waiting for ransom demands. This is established, okay? There was a thing called the Toronto 18 terror cell, and they had plans to make a 2-ton fertilizer bomb. This is,
I bet you could fit a 2-ton fertilizer bomb in the back of a rental cube van.
yeah, you're damn right you could.
I'm
I
pretty
bet you
sure that
could.
that's already been tried somewhere.
So that's
Inside of a
so
rider van, to be exact.
later during this encounter, and I mean, this encounter only lasts 30 or 40 seconds. It's not a very long thing. Like, the officer ends up putting away his duty weapon, takes out his baton, and goes up to the guy and convinces him to get down on the ground. And I don't mean that as a euphemism, like he hits him with. I mean, he literally convinced the guy, like, okay, it's time to get down on the ground. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, I guess I give up now, and gets down on the ground. And then
Yeah, it would have been.
then the officer
Convincing
throws
him at
away his
gunpoint.
baton. Like,
Yeah.
he hasn't secured the scene. He hasn't secured the vehicle. Backup has not arrived. There are individuals on the ground, like on the road around him, filming this as it's going on. And there are pedestrians that have no idea what the fuck is happening around them that walk into the area where the officer would be shooting. Should he be required
Yeah.
to do so? Like, actually, I want to talk about that because there's three visible minority individuals that pass behind the rider van on the sidewalk as the officer has his firearm drawn, pointed at the suspect. And they walk by and they go about 15 or 20 feet before they look over and they realize, oh, look, a cop with a gun. And then they freak out, go, oh, God, a cop with a gun. And then they realize that something has happened.
It's because he turned his
Yeah.
sirens off. But that's the thing. Like, it just, you
Might have been
can't.
when the sirens were still on.
It was, yeah, but it was dumb luck. It's only because this was such a weird event. Like, we all heard, like, as soon as we heard a white rental van was striking people, we all kind of had a feeling what was going to happen. And this just turned out to be like whether it's some crazy guy who just was like an incel or whatever the hell you want to call it, or if this is some sort of terrorism thing and now this is a smokescreen, or his lawyers already talked to him about like alternate whatever, but it's just, we all had a certain idea of what this was. We thought this was going to be like a terrorist attack, like mount the curb, mow
I'm
down a bunch
still
of
not convinced this was not a terrorist attack.
But that's what I mean.
Has
Like this
anybody
police
seen
officer being
you guys
touted
seen,
as a
like, the
hero.
screenshot of the dude's Facebook page where he posted that, like that statement about incel, the one that were entirely like the one statement that everything's being used to brand this guy as incel?
No, negative. I have not seen that, but I have read that a lot, and I had to go and look up what this involuntary celibacy thing was, because I am obviously a very attractive dude, and ladies line up around the block to get with this because I'm a highly desirable catch. I had no idea this was even a thing until this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dudes out there, if you're listening and you're having trouble getting laid, just grow a beard. It works for fellow podcasters.
Yeah.
I feel like Marty's taking a dig at us, but anyway.
That
Ladies
or,
like the beard. I hear it
there's
tickles.
things called hookers that you could go and get too. That'll
So-
cure your involuntary
maybe we could-
celibacy right away.
Take a lesson.
I'm gonna
from
throw
Dutch.
I'm gonna throw the tinfoil hat on here and preface this by saying that I've not looked into this or at all. But the screenshot that I saw of the dude's Facebook page before it got taken down, that was the only post. He had 0 friends, and the post occurred after the truck incident, and it linked back to like a 4chan group. So it looked like it was a spoof. Like it looked like it was just somebody like just being a fucking shitbag and making fun of it, that then got picked up and ran as the narrative. I have no idea if that's true. If I'd be curious if there's like anything out there, which is one of the piss offs that Facebook deleted this page, because if it was still there, we could actually go back and fact check that.
Yeah.
But the only thing I saw was I saw one screenshot of it, and it's like it's just like a fake page. Like it's not doesn't look like a real account at all.
Yeah, there's a lot that's not adding up with this, but yeah.
Just to continue about my little tirade, because I want to finish my couple of points, because I watched the video a bunch of times. The last couple of things, after the police officer puts away his duty piece and switches to his baton, as soon as the suspect becomes compliant and gets down on the ground to be handcuffed, he throws his baton away. He still doesn't have backup. He still hasn't secured the vehicle. He still hasn't secured the scene.
Yeah.
Now he's got his knee on the back of the suspect, and he's batonless. But the baton is in easy reach of the suspect. Again, I feel like this was like a training deficiency. Like these police officers don't have the level of training to deal with this that they should.
So he didn't throw his baton away like the way like officers throw your knife away.
No, he did. He did not have the level of
vehemence.
What's a sport where they throw something really far? Javelin?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, kind of far.
Anyway, he should take notes from the Alliston OPP detachment about knife throwing, because they could apply that to his baton. Because like, he just puts it down next to the suspect. So now, like, you're effectively giving this dude a baton. Like,
hold this, please, sir. I'm gonna need you to hold my baton.
I mean, put it under your arm, put it back in his sheath, put it behind you. Maybe just hold him at gunpoint until backup arrives, because you're in downtown Toronto. There's going to be another cop there in a minute. I don't know. There was a lot of things with this that tactically I feel this officer failed in, and he is lucky that he escaped the situation alive, because there is nothing to say that this couldn't have been more than one individual, or that there wasn't more than one person in the van, or that the van wasn't full of explosives, or that the dude wasn't full of explosives. Yeah. In any event, dear police officers, the next time that you catch somebody that's killing people, please do the right thing and kill them back.
Yeah. Save us some money.
I mean, I know they can't because the backlash from the crazy fucking leftists, because see, we don't need guns to have police officers enforce laws, which actually brings me to my CTV article from Montreal that we want to talk about. The Quebec Green Party calls for patrollers to give up their guns. Green Party Quebec says police and patrol have proven they cannot responsibly handle firearms, so they should be stripped of their weapons. And I fear that this case in Toronto will lend ammunition to that argument.
Can I say two words?
I mean,
Yes.
Charlie Hebdo.
Right? This is...
Get your head out of your ass, people.
although, I mean, they're not wrong when they say that Montreal have shown that they can't be responsible with firearms, but that's not a reason to call for, stripping them of their firearms. It's a call
I know.
to get them better training.
I feel like that guy in the sweaty 2-button guy meme. Like on the left, I have the button that says "Take away all cops' guns," and on the right, I say like, "We should respect police officers and give them the tools to do their jobs." And I'm like sitting there trying to figure out which button to push because I do see both sides of the argument, but the Green Party is fucking dumb in this case. Well, the Green Party is dumb in most cases, but in this case, they're particularly fucking dumb. Taking away police officers' duty firearm does not engender a lot of confidence in my ability to complete their tasks because I'm only calling the police because they're the dudes that are legally allowed to use the guns. I'm not allowed to shoot people when they break into my house. The cops, however, are.
Yep.
What if we take away their lead projectiles? Then can they have guns?
As long as they use steel or bismuth. I think that's what the other thing is that's popular, right? Bismuth?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Bismuth, yeah.
Bismuth is one of them, yeah.
We got to be giving them all shotguns then, because, man, if they are shooting steel projectiles through a rifled barrel, we're going to be going through a lot of barrels, even with the limited number of rounds they shoot a year.
But okay, so here's
especially in Montreal, where only like 4% of the cops bother to, to qualify. But I was surprised. Like it's just you struck me. It was odd that he had a baton. I thought all the police switched to barbecue brushes due to their
deadly nature.
Their deadly nature and the fear they inspire in people.
Yeah, the problem is that some of the criminals started arming themselves with cow magnets, and it rendered the barbecue brush. So they had to upgrade to the baton again.
It's the arm race. So now they're using tinfoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let the Green Party take away police officers' firearms just because some police officers are terrible at using firearms. Doesn't mean that we should take them away.
We can shorten that to "Don't let the Green Party."
Yeah, don't let the Green Party.
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody out there in podcast land, Elizabeth May didn't go to jail. How about that? I think she still got charged. I hope she's fine.
She should go out for some celebratory drinks with Patrick Brown.
I don't know. Tim, you brought up do you want to talk budget stuff or should we save this to next week? It's getting late.
I'm not prepared for that.
Okay, we'll do the budget next week. Let's wrap this up. If you haven't signed some petitions lately, go to oneclearvoice.ca, print that crap out, mail it to your MP, mail it to I shouldn't refer to it as crap. Print that stuff out, mail it to your MP, mail it to the various other members of Parliament, including the shiniest of ponies.
Your MP may be crap, though.
It's entirely possible. If you live in Toronto, it's more than possible. Then go on the government website for petitions. It's petitions.rcommons.ca. You want to find E1608.
And then get your wife to do it.
Get your wife to do it. Get your kids to do it. Get your in-laws to do it. It's 73,000.
Yeah, your neighbors. If you know that couple, Grant and Grant, that are hanging out in Toronto, get them to sign it.
The gay Grants.
That's right. Get the gay Grants to sign the petition because it's 73,000 signatures. Yeah, it's not going to do anything, but at least we can say the Liberals are not following what people want. You know, the whole fact-based policy thing that they wanted. Open consultation with the constituents.
That's what it does do, though. Is it, if we get, 100,000, 120,000 signatures or whatever it is the number one, the highest petition. Is it when the Liberals, when they make their claim of, we're doing what people want, we're doing what the voters wanted, it gives an argument against it. It shows the lie to that, saying, really? You're doing what people want? How come the most signed petition in the history of this country is against this? It definitely, it shows it shows the lie that they're portraying with this, and it's important to sign this petition for that reason. You know,
And
yes, they have a majority, and yes, they can put this through regardless. But it shows the hypocrisy of them, and it only helps us further on in the future.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like, it costs money. It doesn't cost money for anyone to do this. It's free. It takes like 30 seconds to go and do it. So, just do it. If it does nothing, it does nothing. But like, we have so much to lose if this nonsense goes through, that if we could have done anything and it only took you 30 seconds to at least try to stop it and you didn't, you're useless.
This is the least you can do. Especially if you live in an area with a liberal MP, call the MP's office and bitch. And call them every week and bitch. Just clog up their office with complaints about this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm emailing them weekly, if not more.
Hard copy letters. I like clogging up the mail system because it's free to send letters to my MP.
Yeah, I've done both, but I mean, email is easy.
Email is easy, but I like giving them that physical piece of paper that they then have to do something with.
Yes.
Because it's funny.
I should do some more and make some more phone calls.
All right. We've also got the 8th annual podcast, Canadian Firearms Podcaster Network charity shoot. That's going to be July 5th to the 7th. Go check out the Slam Fire guys to find out what they're doing. I'm pretty sure everything is sold out. There's also a covert entry concept.
Charity shoot. Charity shoot is not sold out. Come for that.
Come for the charity shoot.
Or just come to hang out with us.
I was going to say, yeah, stay for our company, but come for the charity shoot.
Yeah, just the, I guess the Maple Seed and the pistol, the Handcuff Fundamentals class. I believe that they're sold out. But no, obviously, come for the charity shoot. That's not sold out. And I think you just register the day of.
Yeah, come drink with us. Come drunkenly podcast with us after drinking.
Or during.
And let's be honest, you're going to get to do some Steel Challenge stages. There's not a lot of opportunities in Canada to shoot Steel Challenge. So it's worth it just for that.
Yeah, don't forget to bring your clown outfits. Those are going to come in handy for pub night. It's a clown theme this year.
There's also a True North Tradecraft event coming up. They've got a covert entry concepts class going on in Toronto, May 12th and 13th. Cost for the class is $865. Go check out truenorthtradecraft.ca for details. Rapid fire feedback this week. We don't have rapid fire feedback in the normal way that we get it, but I did get some information back from a couple of listeners on the Facebooks. Apparently, Red Cross has approved and is now teaching tourniquet use, both commercial and improvised tourniquets, as of mid to late 2017, which would be after my renewal of my most recent first aid renewal in January of 2017, wherein I was told by the instructor, do not use tourniquets because they're very dangerous and no one knows how to do them. But apparently Red Cross has
that's when you should have been like, that's why I'm here, to learn how to do them.
Yeah, Red Cross and Red Crescent both approved that now.
The advice of Tim is not good.
Yeah, I gotta renew my St. John's one probably shortly, so I will let you guys know if they have also updated, because the last time around my instructor didn't even know what they were.
Yeah, so I was told for 2017.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I know they've been teaching it. They've been teaching improvised tourniquets in the wilderness first aid courses for a while, but as part of the Red Cross standard first aid package, which I would assume would be very similar to the St. John's Ambulance standard first aid.
One would hope.
Tourniquets were not approved.
T-triple-C?
You know what? I would love to do T-triple-C. If we could find somebody that would do T-triple-C in Canada for not the military, I'd be all about that.
Yeah, don't do it.
Seems like that's the one that I want to get.
Yeah, no, you want the St. George course.
Were you Slate Dragons?
Yes.
Yeah.
The outfits are cooler though.
I imagine so.
All right. What was the other thing we got to do? Oh, where can we find everybody? Gavin, where can we find you on the internet?
The best place is on Instagram at urbex_GTA, or you can also find me doing some drawings and cool shit with like Guerrilla Works. But seriously though, go get some medical training. Red Cross, St. John's, or there's a Sunnybrook is doing some stuff too for like $50 if you're on a budget. So like you really can't say no to that. I mean, it's super important that everyone has this. So just go do it. Sign the petition first and then go sign up for some medical training. Don't be a dick.
Good life advice. Marty, where can everybody find the show?
They already have.
Perfect.
We got
Tim,
you
where can
there.
everybody find you?
Facebook.com/Tim's Good T-shirts.
All right. As always, my name is Andrew. You can buy stuff, RagnarokTactical.ca, get bandages and tourniquets, and we've got really cool shoes now because I sell shoes now. Don't worry, sorry, podcast land. I wasn't expecting to be doing this either, but we have the Ultima Maritime Assault boots that are basically like badass nylon Converse Chuck Taylor kind of shoes.
+3 to butt kicking.
Super comfy, super multicam or black or multicam. $115 for the low cut variety, the mid cut, like the high top kind, or $120. Multicam black will be available in Canada in June, approximately. As soon as we get it, I will let everybody know. So, multicam black, that's the new hotness. That's what you want. But in the meantime, regular black, regular multicam, RagnarokTactical.ca. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaka. We couldn't fit him onto the show this week. I am still trying to work out the processing for the size of shoe that he wants. I promise the vendor is looking into making something that big. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I want to remind you that you are the true north, strong and free.